Hello, everyone. This is the last week of Black History Month. So, you know, I got my chocolate shirt on. I think I did wear this for another video. So I guess I should have worn my other black related shirt. But I also am wearing my chocolate perfume, so I felt like they go together. You know what I mean? And this is also from a black owned company called Pink Passion. So check them out. And as always, obligatory self promotion. What if I ruled the world? Poems inspired by music. The last week of Black History Month. You still want to support a sister? It's here for you. I'm actually gonna leave it. No, I can put it. I have a bunch of receipts over there on my printer that you can't see that I need to organize for my taxes. So give me a little insight into my life. But today we're here to talk about this book, Well Read Black Girl, and it was edited by Glory Edom. And it is a book of essays about. Oh, let me read the synopsis. Well, let me read about Gloria Adam first, because that's what I have in my notes. It says read the back of the book. So, I did not. I don't know if that's like bad, but then I did see they have a little picture of her and the biography in the back when I was looking up sections that I liked, or each section, each story that I liked in each section. So I was like, might as well take it from the book. Gloria Adam is the founder of Well Read Black Girl, a Brooklyn based book club and online community that celebrates the uniqueness of Black literature and sisterhood, which I should look up on social media. I don't think I have yet. In the fall, in fall 2017, she organized the first ever Well Read Black Girl Literary Festival. I love that. She has worked as a creative strategist for over 10 years at startups and cultural institutes, including Kickstarter, the Webby Awards, and the New York Foundation for the Arts. She received the 2017 Innovators Award for the Los Angeles Times Books Book Prizes for her work as a literary advocate. She deserves she serves on the board of New York City's Housing Works bookstore and lives in Brooklyn, New York. And then this is all of the social media, which is just pretty much everything's well read black girl. That's the social media, if you wanted to know. And I actually originally read this as an audio. Sounds weird to say read as an audiobook, but I know it still counts as reading. But I originally read this as an audiobook. And it was released October 30th, 2018. And I'm going to read the synopsis. Remember that moment when you first encountered a character who seemed to be written just for you? That feeling of belonging remains. Readers, the rest of their lives, but not with readers for the rest of their lives, but not everyone regularly sees themselves on the pages of books. In this timely anthology, Gloria Adam brings together original essays by some of the best Black women writers to shine a light on how important it is that we all, regardless of race, gender, or ability, have the opportunity to find ourselves in literature. Contributors include Jasmine Ward. She has the songs. She has a book, Sing, Unburied Sing, Lynn Nottage, Sweat. That's her book. Jacqueline Woodson, Another Brooklyn, Gabrielle Sotobe, This Is Just My Face, Morgan Jerkins, there we go. This Will Be My Undoing, Terai Jones, An American Marriage, Rebecca Walker, Black, White, and Jewish, and Barbara Smith, Homegirls, a Black Feminist Anthology, which I don't think that's all of them, but a few famous names. Well, it's learning about the complexities of femalehood from Zara Neale Hurston and Toni Morrison, finding a new type of love in the color purple, or using mythology to craft alternative black an alternative black future. The subjects of each essay remind us we turn to books in times of struggle and relaxation. Uh, as she has done with the book club turned online community, Well Read Black Girl, and this anthology, Gloria Adam has created a space in which Black women's writing and knowledge and life experience are lifted up to be shared with readers who value the power of story to help us understand the world and ourselves. If I could speak today. Um, all right, so I'm going to go over my pros and my cons, and then each give a little bit of a summary of each part. So they're like five different sections of type of books that three different writers talks about, and so each section I'm going to say what my favorite writer talked about. So I just summarized it basically, and then I'm going to also talk about which I'm going to freestyle it, kind of go on a rant because I forgot to write a rant about where I found myself in writing. I mean, not in writing, in reading, which they also readers and writers in this book. All right, so my first pro is different perspectives on reading from each of the authors that contributed. It was so interesting to see some women had read books like only by black authors their whole lives. Other people had discovered it in their teenage years or later in life. And so it's so interesting to like know to have your representation like in your entertainment pretty much, and to see how every different woman discovered black writers and that they had stories that were for them. So that was really cool to see. Oh, and I love the different genres. So they had that they talked about poetry, plays, fantasy. What was that category? Was it just fantasy? I definitely said that. I definitely know it was science fiction and fantasy. There we go. Poetry. They also have, of course, my favorite. They had classic black novels. So I loved like all of the different genres that they talked about. Oh, and another thing. So these you can't really tell, but you see the blue tabs, kind of. The blue tabs are for all of the book recommendations at the end of each section. So I can go back. I color coded it, so I can go back to those specific ones if I want to look up my next book I want to read. And there's so many suggestions. And then also in the very back of the book, okay, and that's my next pro. They have an index of I gotta figure out where it was. Okay, and then they have little biographies about all of the people who wrote in the book. They have an index in the back. Did I not put my little blue stick mark in here? Of course I did not. But they list all of the books everybody talked about in the whole book. And I love that little index. So that's even more books that you're able to look up. Let me see what's this last blue tab for. Oh, here it is. Yes. So they list all of the books that were talked about. So I did actually put the little blue tabs in there. And this lists every single book talked about in the book. So I love that too. So then yeah, you have a ton of suggestions for you to read. And then I only have one con, and it was just the audiobook format. I think you should get the book version so you can actually like, you know, actually be able to look at the suggestions that they give you and see the books that they talk about. So yeah. But the audiobook I don't think it's that long. It might be 4 hours, 6. I think it's less than 6. It might not be that long. Maybe 5 something. So yeah, but I mean, even if you are listening, you can always write down the suggestions. You can always borrow the book, but I bought it because I know I'm gonna definitely be looking for future suggestions of books in here. Okay, so then by sections. So under the classic novel section, the first essay was by Jasmine Ward, and it was called Magic Mirrors. And I love that she related to the Black Witch in Jennifer uh, Heacat, Macbeth, William McKinney, and Me, Elizabeth. That was the book that she talked about. And how when Jennifer has no real powers, that she realized how life limits you based on how you look and your social economic status. So she read the book and she was basically like, "Oh my god, I love that there's this black witch." She loved witchcraft things, like period in her life. She was a teenager, and then when Jennifer turned out to just be a normal black girl, she kind of felt like like she couldn't really dream as big, but In the end, it's basically like she is like Jennifer. Like she thought she was like not um basically she felt like, okay, well, I thought I was gonna, be able to dream through Jennifer, but like we're more alike than we thought, and she didn't really like that. But I also feel like that's a good thing though, because she literally could see herself, and this is like the illustrations. They do have some illustrations in there. That's Jasmine World. All of my sticky notes falling out. Um, but yeah, I really love that she had the realization like, oh, we're just alike. But I feel like she felt it kind of negative. But then I feel like towards the end of her essay, she started feeling better about it. Okay, so that's the classic novels, and then Black feminism. Rebecca Walker, who is the daughter of Alice Walker, the famous Black author, who she's also an author now too. So I'm gonna go to page 43, so I can tell you the title of hers. Hers was called Legacy, which is very fitting. And let me see what I wrote. She loved reading growing up. Was writing around her since her mom was Alice Walker, and how she like carved her own path basically. And she started off writing like pretty much nonfiction. And from what I can remember, I'm pretty sure she still, writes nonfiction, and just carving out her own identity separate from her mom, the legacy. So I really love that part. So that was the part in Black feminism. And then some of the sections with the books, um, I highlighted what I had already read. So in the classic books by Black women, I have read The Color Purple, and then uh, that was pretty much it. So I have a lot to catch up. I will say this is like the shortest section for the book recommendations because it's only one page, but the other ones are like at least 2 pages. And then for the Black feminism, I don't think I had read anything. But let me see if I highlighted anything. Okay, I went too far up. Okay, that was the Black. Yeah, Rebecca Walker was the Black feminism. So let me go back to 40. Am I too far ahead or too far back? I'm too far back. Okay, so this is blue tab. And I had read none of them. So got a lot of catching up to do. I'm trying to see if I have any of these books anyway. Like if I just have them and I haven't read them. Nope. So I got a lot of catching up to do in that regard. And then the third section was Black girlhood and friendship, which is on page 75. So I liked Gabourey Sidibe's section, and I feel like her story is kind of sad. So we're going to talk about it. But her section is called "Gal: A Hard Road to Hoe." I really loved her section. I love that her mom got her into reading, but I was also sad that her mom was like, "I didn't really want you." Like she only wanted to have a son because daughters have like a really hard life. And she told Gabrielle this. Um, which does suck, but it's also like there was a better way to teach that. LOL. But I'm glad she's happy in her life now because now she's a mom, and I'm hoping that they have figured out their relationship better, and that like, oh, the son was the favorite because they really didn't want to have another child, and I think they were really close in age. She said they were like 11 months apart. But yeah, she was saying, basically girls have a hard life, but it's also like, well, why should that stop you from wanting to have a daughter? But I also get it, but I'm also like, it's kind of a little crazy. So yeah, so let me see if I've read any of the books for the Black girlhood recommendations. I don't think I did. Nope, nothing is highlighted, but there are some that I have been wanting to read. Um, yeah, some of the classic books I think I did have, but I haven't read it yet. Okay, so now science fiction is page 102 for uh who is that? Nicole Dennis Bean. And then what was she talking about? Hers was called Dear Beloved. So yeah, this is definitely science fiction classic. Of course, my computer. Oh wow. Okay, so what she was talking about? Oh, I love her story of growing up in Jamaica, surrounded by black people, but only being told white stories and writing because of colonialism. Because she had like British teachers, and of course, it was Catholic Church and a lot of trauma. But I love that she learned about beloved, and she felt like, um, she could see herself in a movie. I mean, a movie in a book, and see herself and other black people in reading and writing. So she finally found like solace from her life that she was living. And then I have read one book in science fiction section, Kindred, which I have reviewed on here. If you haven't seen, I reviewed the TV show and then I reviewed the book. So I have read Kindred. Oh, and this one's pretty short. It's just one page as well. But yeah, I've read Kindred. So I got like what, two or three that I've read. It's probably two, I think. And then the next section was plays. So this one, once I actually finish reading the color, not the color purple, for Colored Girls and Raising the Sun, I will have two probably that they've suggested. But Lynn Nottage, she's a playwright, and it's called Putting Women Center Stage. That's her section. And then I loved hearing from a different type of writer. She talked about how there aren't many black playwrights. How even then, black women are not always the focus. I love that she's helping teach others to write and make their voices heard because she's also a professor. So I thought that was really cool to see. And then let me see if uh, For Color Girls is going to be on here. Yep, for Color Girls, I can highlight. And then is there Raisin on the Sun? Yeah, so I'll be able to have two once those are done. And then the last section was poetry. And my section was written by the favorite one I had was Jamia Wilson, Living a Soft Black Song. That's what it's called. And she talked about Nick Giovanni, who is one of my favorite poets. And I loved hearing about her work, and I love that I have something new from her to look forward to because I never knew she had a children's poetry book. So I would love to read that. And I love that no matter where Jamia was, she was still kept grounded by a book that made her proud of who she was as a black woman. And her family were professors, so they lived in Saudi Arabia for a little bit. So she was able to cling on to this book for her identity in this foreign country. So I really love that. And then let me see if I read any of this poetry. I have not, but I have a lot that I can, yeah, I have to look forward to. And so now I'm going to share my overall opinion. I really love hearing all these different Black women share their stories about their love of reading. And I love the diversity of their stories and what reading means to each of them. I especially loved hearing from the playwriter, which I talked about, and getting suggestions of plays to read as well. I did enjoy the audiobook version, but I will say I think reading the actual book would be better, which we talked about that. If you buy the book, you can go back in the sections and and read the book suggestions from each author and the suggestions from the end of each chapter. And if you get the book as a loan, you can always like make notes or whatever. If you just want to get it from the library. So I will also be purchasing the book, which is here. Um, and I haven't read a collection of essays before, and I love this one. Highly recommend it. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. And then I'm gonna freestyle my rant today a little bit. Because I was up making notes and I forgot to add the rant. But when I found myself in writing was probably the book by Sharon G. Flake, Skin I'm In, and what Malika had to go through as a dark skinned black woman or young woman because she was a teenager, and how like her life was difficult just because of the way she looked. And I feel like that was the first time I really was like connected to a writer. I was like our book, which it also has three books in the series. So it has The Skin I'm In, and then I read The Life I'm In, and now I have to read the third book, which I do want to review all of them, which I could talk more about that. But it also like made me feel like connecting my struggles as a dark skinned child as well, and like feeling different. But then I was able to see myself in the book and see it's gonna be kind of a spoiler. Malika, I'm not telling you the specifics. I guess it's not really a spoiler. Malika finally standing up for herself at the end of the book and saying, "You know what? I'm proud of the skin I'm in, and I'm not any of these things that you guys are calling me. And I'm gonna stand up for myself. I'm gonna love myself." And I really love that. So yeah, that's Well Read Black Girl, and that is my rant on when I first noticed myself in a book. And of course, I've read a lot of other books that are talk about the Black experience since then. Um, and I've read Kindred. I've read tons of Nick and Giovanni. Read a lot of Maya Angelou, which they probably mentioned in here, but I gotta look at the suggestions again because there's so much that I could read. And I'm just so excited for all the suggestions, and I'm excited to explore all kinds of different genres as well. All right, so have you read Well Read Black Girl? Will you read it now? Will you go buy it? Will you get it from the library? Let me know what your thoughts are. And happy Black History Month for the last time. And next month is Women's History Month, so I already have, I'm a little organized sometimes. I do have my ideas like typed out in my little note on my phone. So I do have some ideas at least. Um, and then it's Poetry Month in April. So like February, March, April, 3 months of me doing a lot of theme stuff. And then May, I guess I'll relax. Because then June is Black Music Month and Pride Month. So it's a lot of months coming up. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. I will see you all next week.